friendship that'll never ever end.
This past week, we celebrated 1 year since Bray Wyatt first peered around the door and the very first episode of the Firefly Funhouse aired. It's also my birthday, so it's a theory video celebration asking where is the Firefly Funhouse. Now, the Firefly Funhouse's physical location, whether it's mental or physical, will be a very important factor looking into the future of Bray Wyatt, because ultimately you can kind of sort of look at it and say this could happen, and it would also rule out things that can't happen from the Funhouse's actual location. So we're going to take a look at that. We're also going to take a look at the people who have gone to the Firefly Funhouse and how maybe they got there and what it could mean, the fact that real people have been there. Now, of course, we've seen Bray Wyatt there, but I think Bray Wyatt being there is kind of obvious and kind of everyday, so we're not going to focus on that too much. But we are going to look at somewhere that Bray has described as his own safe place and try to determine its physical or mental location. But if you are new to the channel, I need to ask you guys now to hit that subscribe button and, of course, like the video. It really does help it rank up on YouTube. Now, ever since the Firefly Funhouse began, Bray has been credited for the fact that he has designed the concept and the story behind the Fiend and the Funhouse. So you could kind of say that the Funhouse came from the mind of Bray Wyatt. Therefore, it could be that the Funhouse is actually like being a projection from the mind of Bray, and we're seeing what's going on inside his head through the screen of watching the Funhouse episodes. Now, that is plausible when you look at the characters we see inside it, represented in puppet form. We know that these puppets are representations from Bray Wyatt's past, his memories, so to speak. So, the fact his memories are there in their Funhouse with him kind of makes this theory plausible. The fact that in the very final episode of the Funhouse, Fear is Power, we saw what we assumed to be some kind of mental institution with padded rooms, sort of a representation of maybe where Bray Wyatt was. It kind of makes you think that this could all be playing out inside the head of Bray Wyatt, and what we are watching and what we're hearing is what Bray Wyatt has to say. Bray has called the Funhouse his safe place, and the fact he's done that makes me really think that that could be a true possibility. Now, another huge theory is that the Firefly Funhouse is a physical place. A real place that you could walk up to and knock on the door and probably get your ass kicked by the Fiend. Maybe a cabin in the woods. It's something we've heard Bray Wyatt mention multiple times. We know his brothers and sisters were there, led by Sister Abigail. Again, he told us this in Superstar Ghost Stories. It is a video we've referenced so many times in these theory videos, so of course we're going to have to do it again. We've also seen maybe the same cabin in the woods get burnt down by Randy Orton. Of course, then it was called the Wyatt family compound, but maybe this was the same cabin in the woods that Sister Abigail took Bray to. It's plausible. Maybe by now it's been rebuilt and rechristened the Funhouse. We've also seen a physical representation of it from Kyle Scarborough recently. Of course, this is a close friend of Bray who's worked on the Funhouse and the concept of the Fiend with Bray. He tweeted out this picture, again showing a cabin in the woods. Okay, there's other things going on in the picture. If you haven't looked, go onto his Twitter and find it because it's pretty cool. But we also saw inside what we think is that same cabin. And you can see maybe Abby the Witch looking down. You can see Huskus the Pig Boy being strung up. You can see people outside wanting to be let in. This was basically like a representation of maybe the Funhouse. So it's very plausible that the cabin in the woods theory holds up. Maybe the Funhouse is a physical place, and maybe this is where Bray Wyatt's sick, twisted mind games are being played out from. Now, we need to take a look at the people who went to the Funhouse. First was Seth Rollins. Now, this was pretty cool. The fact he burned it down and then it came back like nothing had happened was awesome. But when he arrived at the Funhouse, Bray Wyatt seemed shocked to see him. Bray comes across as this omnipotent figure who kind of knows everything that's going to happen in the future. And the fact that Seth was able to go there seemed to shock him. And he said to Seth, "Did you die?" So straight away, you've got to think maybe this is a paranormal kind of funhouse. Bray Wyatt, there is a theory that Bray Wyatt has this random Firefly funhouse that maybe is on the back of a lorry, and maybe the real funhouse is a cabin in the woods, and he just sort of tours with this, basically. That's plausible. I don't think it would be that. I think if that did turn out to be the case, I think many fans would be highly disappointed that Bray Wyatt's just basically on the back of a lorry while he does these promos. Yeah. The next person to go to the funhouse would be John Cena. And this happened only at WrestleMania, so very, very recently. And this was kind of very different because John Cena didn't stumble across the funhouse. Bray Wyatt teleported John Cena to the funhouse. But we did get one really cool thing. Cena went through the door. We found out on the other side of the door is not a forest, it's not a wood. It was hell. John Cena's personal hell, represented by the very first thing he met when he walked through the door, Devil Vince. What better way to set up a match than the very first thing you see is Vince McMahon with devil horns. You know you're in hell, and you know you got no chance in it. Pun intended. But it's cool to think that if hell is the other side of the funhouse door, then that means the funhouse itself must be in hell. It means that John Cena went to hell. But the funhouse, we know, Bray's told us, is Bray's safe place. We've said before and theorized that the Fiend is an entity that lives inside of Bray. And in the funhouse, the Fiend keeps Bray Wyatt safe. And Bray Wyatt's memories are there because they're his memories and they're basically being kept safe so the Fiend can feed off of them. If you don't know who Jodie Gilly is, she is an admin for the Firefly Funhouse Facebook fan group. And if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. Now, Jodie is a close friend of the channel and we have these long theory sessions on Skype. And we created this insane theory that's very plausible following the Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania. Now, John Cena came out and was very confused. He had no idea what to actually do or where to go. Bray Wyatt then seemingly teleported John Cena, who again was very confused at how he got to the Firefly Funhouse itself. So the fact he was teleported there makes you think that, okay, this didn't happen, maybe? Because in reality, you can't teleport someone like that, right? So if John Cena came out on SmackDown after WrestleMania and said, "Hey, Bray Wyatt, I was at WrestleMania, you never showed up. Where was you? What happened?" Or if the commentators had turned around and said, "Hey guys, the Fiend versus Cena, we don't know what you actually witnessed on the WrestleMania live feed, but that's not what happened. You witnessed something which we could not explain, but the physical match between John Cena and the Fiend did take place, and we're going to show it to you right here tonight on SmackDown." Had they have said that, then what we would have witnessed at WrestleMania would have been the mind games, the actual mind concept of the match of the Fiend defeating John Cena. And then what we would have witnessed on SmackDown would have been the physical, actual wrestling match between John Cena and the Fiend. But we never got that. And the fact we never got that is very, very important. Because if that is what we would have got, we could have said, yes, the Firefly Funhouse is in the mind of Bray Wyatt. Yes, this was some weird projection. The match did happen. The match itself never actually happened. So we can scrap the theory that this is inside of Bray Wyatt's head. It can't be. It happened for real. It could be that there is a cabin in the woods. Because I think now you have to accept the fact John Cena and Bray Wyatt's match happened at WrestleMania, then there has to be a physical place for the Firefly Funhouse. And wherever that physical place is, whether it is in hell with a Devil Vince puppet, or it is the cabin in the woods where Bray Wyatt grew up, or even the mental institution where they tried to make him conform, the Firefly Funhouse is supernatural in my opinion. I think there is things about it that is making this Bray Wyatt / the Fiend character sort of supernatural, almost in a way how Undertaker was many years ago. And I think that's the right option. I think it's the right way to look at it. The Fiend is obviously such a great character that just needs that little spark and something different in the backstory to get him over. As today is my birthday, I'm giving you guys a present with a secret hidden theory in this video. So if you're watching this video, this is how you're going to find this. This isn't going to be a title that you can go and search for on YouTube. I made this video, and whilst making it, I watched Fear is Power multiple times. And whilst pausing it to get images to make this video, this appeared multiple times. And when you think what a spider has represented on WWE recently, of course, Eric Rowan, it makes you wonder if the original plan for Rowan and his spider friend could be to have joined Bray Wyatt. This is the first time there's actually been a link between the two characters. And it was many months ago that Fear is Power was put on. It was during the Muscle Man dance. And if you want to go back, you got to pause it. Put it on slow motion on YouTube, and you will see the spiders that I'm referring to. And I just think that maybe it would be kind of cool to think that maybe WWE had some kind of plan to put Rowan back with Bray. Now, unfortunately, Rowan has been released, so it looks very unlikely at this point it could happen. I mean, Rowan could be potentially re-signed in the future. But I just thought it was kind of strange that no one's noticed this until now. And I didn't want to make a whole theory video on it because I don't think it's likely to happen. But it's interesting, right? So let me know your thoughts on where do you think the Firefly Funhouse is located. Do you think it's in Bray Wyatt's mind? Do you think there's like a travelling funhouse that we see Bray Wyatt stood upon when he's appearing on SmackDown these days? Do you think there is a physical cabin in the woods? Or do you think the funhouse is in hell and this is a supernatural goings-on thing with Bray Wyatt? I've told you what I think, but let me know what you think in the main comment section of the video. Thank you to everyone who joined us on the premiere. I do love doing these. It gives me a chance to interact with you. Like right now I'm waving at you. I hope you're waving back. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I will, as always, see you next time. Peace!